Hey guys, Abby here and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. Today's video we're going to be taking a look at K1 Logistics Legend Lost Sector. This is the solo Lost Sector you can complete for exotic rewards. As we look at the path here, I'm going to go over the modifiers. We've got Barrier and Overload champions, the Fallen modifier Hot Knife, which gives all the Shanks a solar shield. We're going to be taking more aerial damage, so definitely keep that in mind. And we're also going to be taking and doing more void damage. In this video, we'll be going through the Lost Sector on my Hunter, but of course you can use these tips and apply them to any other class. In the K1 Logistics Lost Sector, you're going to run into 2 Fallen Captain Overload champions and 3 Fallen Servitor Barrier champions. You're also going to see a few Arc Captains and also a bunch of Solar Shanks. And even though we're not going to see any void shields, we are going to be using some void because we get that damage boost due to the modifiers. So let's take a look at our hunter's loadout. We're going to be going void Night Stalker here, bottom tree for the multi-tether so we can get a lot of damage in. This is going to give our grenades a lot of damage, so you want to make sure you're throwing nades on all of the champions. And then for weapons, we're going to be using the Succession sniper rifle for our kinetic. Of course, you can use any sniper rifle if you've got a long shadow or something like that. For our exotic, we're going to be using Tichu's Divination. I'm sure I'm still saying that wrong, but the solar damage is going to help us with the Shanks and the ability to hip fire and have it just target the enemies. And then the explosion from aiming down sights is really helpful for clearing out groups. And then lastly, for our heavy, we're actually going to be using the Guillotine Void Sword. It's a really nice way to burst down the champions, but you could use something else if you wanted in this slot as well. We're also not running any arc, but that should be fine because the sword just negates the shield, so you shouldn't have any issues with any of the arc captains. Now onto our armor. We are using a couple of the nightmare mods. Now, I don't know if they really help that much, but I will say that this Arc 1 Nightmare Banisher is going to give you extra damage with your super, which is really great. And then we're also using Nightmare Crusher that gives you additional damage to your melee and grenade abilities. The grenade is amazing. It's going to boost our damage even more. And then I made sure to double up on my cloak 2 bomber mods, which is going to give us our grenade energy when we use our dodge. Now, it's not necessary to use these nightmare mods, but I had the open slots on a couple of my pieces, so I went ahead and put them on. You're only going to find them on armor that has a legacy mod slot, so not all of your armor is going to have it. In fact, a lot of my armor did not have that mod slot, so don't worry about it too much, but it will give you a nice little extra boost of damage. So as we get into the Lost Sector run here, straight out the gate, you're going to get a Barrier Servitor. Barrier Servitors, in my opinion, are the most annoying champions because they immune so much stuff. So for this room, you can either go to the left side like I'm doing here, or you could even go up to the right side, clear out those enemies first, and then take on the Barrier Servitor. And for the 1300 Lost Sector, I would try to be as close as you can to that power level. Obviously, you can do it a little bit under leveled, but you're going to have a much easier time if you are 1300 or above. And as you can see with the sword, we don't really care about the arc shield, doesn't matter. You can also feel free to use your sword pretty liberally because we're not going to need it for the boss. So you can even use it to kill some dregs or the vandals or whatever you want really as you go through the Lost Sector. However, you want to make sure you have a nice chunk of sword ammo for the champions. Make sure you target those tracer shanks because they do hurt. After the Exploder Shanks, we're going to see our next Barrier Servitor come out from the bottom there. And there's also an Overload up top across the way, but we're going to leave him till last. Usually the Barrier Servitor doesn't immune him or anything like that, so you can kind of stagger him if you're taking a lot of fire from him, just to focus on this Barrier Servitor. You're going to be taking a lot of fire from the dregs that the servitor immunes. They're going to be shooting a lot of those arc grenades your way, so you just kind of have to be wary of where those are placed. Move around a little bit. we're going to finish the barrier servitor with our sword, pick up some heavy ammo. And then make our way over to this overload. You want to make sure everything's kind of cleared out. And then we're going to go ahead and stun the overload, give him a nice little grenade to finish him off with the sword, and then we're on our way. This lost sector actually isn't that long. However, I do find you spend the most time in the boss room. All right, going through this hallway, we're going to get our next and final overload captain. So make sure you take him out, and then we've got these melee dudes right at the end before the boss room. Now in the boss room on this lost sector, you have to clear out quite a few ads before you can even start damaging the boss. So you can't really burst through and just kill the boss, grab the chest, and ignore all the ads. You're gonna have to actually go through and kill a lot of stuff before you get to him. So we've got our last barrier servitor here. We're gonna go ahead and kill him. The other thing that I really like about Tichu's divination is that when you stun that barrier servitor, you can go ahead and pop some Tichu's hip fire shots in there and then aim down sights and hit him, and that's actually going to kill a lot of the extra garbage that's around him before he gets his shield back and can start immuning them again. So if you're taking a lot of fire, just kind of use that strat in mind. If it takes you a little bit longer to kill the barrier servitor, that's completely fine. All right, after we do the first few sets of ads, you're going to see a bunch of shanks spawn right in front of the boss. What makes the moon lost sectors harder is that the bosses are nightmares, and they also spawn nightmare ads, and they are a lot chonkier than regular lost sectors. They have a lot more health, so those mods help you cut through that. Once you take out the rest of the ads, the boss's shield is going to come down and you'll be able to damage him. Keep in mind, he's going to start immediately shooting at you, and so you need to watch out for that because those are void shots. So we're going to go ahead and tether right away. The boss then moves over to this side. Unfortunately, I got too close, but it doesn't matter really either way. I wanted to get a grenade shot on him. We had plenty of revives, so if you need to take chances and it's before your 15-minute mark where your revives are going to go away, then you could just go take chances. We had 8 revives, so we're just going to snipe him from a distance. The good thing about this loadout is that we've got a sniper, we've got Tichus, and we've got our tether. They're all long distance damage dealers. And then that is it for the lost sector. So if you do kill the boss and then there are a bunch of ads you need to get through, you can always use your smoke bomb to go invisible too, which is why I like this loadout, just if you want to grab the chest and be done with it. All right, guys, that is it for my guide on K1 logistics. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.